Okay, it's Friday, and you know what it means to have a Friday? I mean, you don't have to work and stuff like that, that's also pretty neat, but it's also Creepypasta Friday, where I just randomly pick random creepypastas that I found on creepypasta.fandom.com, even though fandom fucking sucks. Or other sites, last time we had a Minecraft creepypasta. I mostly try to keep it video game related because I like video games and so on. And again, I don't have the perfect voice to read these. I'm not great at. I mean, I can read well, but I can pronounce well and stuff like that. But anyways, I just think it's kind of fun to read random creepypastas and kind of talk about them. So this time we have one called Super Mario 64. That's the title. Just normal Super Mario 64. I'm sure there's no twist here, right? So let me take a sippy real quick, and then we can start delving into this creepypasta that has something to do with Super Mario. And Super Mario is a guy who likes to be nice, but his games can keep secrets that will surprise you. I always liked Super Mario 64 when I was a kid. I remember playing it at my aunt's house all the time. Did I even start recording? I did. Oh, sorry for that one. Well, one day a pop-up appeared out of nowhere as I was watching gameplay footage on YouTube. I was a little startled, and I was about to close the window until I realized it was a website showing a mint-condition copy of Mario 64 for sale for $100 million. Because retro gamers will scam you. Don't listen to retro gamers on YouTube. They will try to make you buy expensive games that shouldn't be that expensive, and then they will say, oh, why are retro games so expensive? Why does no one want to play retro games with me? And then the solution is simple: you are the cause of it. You are the cause why retro games are so expensive, so don't even try to blame other people for it. You are at fault. You little gamer, retro gamer on YouTube. Anyways, but that sounds kind of mean. No hate against retro YouTubers on video gaming and stuff like that, but they are not the smartest when it comes to self-reflection. There was a picture and everything. I usually don't trust these things, but the feeling of nostalgia overpowered me, and I wanted to buy it. The whole business was particular, seeing as how the owner of the game wanted the buyer to send an envelope containing $10 to an address on the site instead of using something like PayPal. What makes things even more strange was that when I tried to gain access to the website, I wrote down the URL after encountering problems with the game. The page was nowhere to be found, because you probably just bought a cursed copy of Mario 64. I already can see where this goes. Thing is, it doesn't really make. Why would you even say yes to this? Why would you think that you should send it per envelope? I mean, $10, that's a pretty decent price for this game, but I would rather pay $25 or maybe go to a flea market and find it for 15, 20 than writing an envelope. Who even does it nowadays? Like, you're not a boomer, are you? A few days after the $10 was mailed, I got a package containing the new copy of the game. The first thing I noticed when I opened the small box was that the official sticker with Mario flying in the air was apparently peeled off or something. Oh, he even got a box copy for $10? I don't understand why he did that, actually. In its place was a piece of duct tape with Mario crudely written on it in permanent marker. That is already value of the game again. I felt a little whipped off. How can you feel whipped off at $10? $10, you just avoid ordering food for one singular time and you have the money back. But as long as the game worked, I didn't care. I got out my Nintendo 64 and put the cartridge in. The screen turned on with the familiar Mario face that you could stretch and twist aimlessly. I remembered laughing all the time at the results as a kid and decided to mess around for old time's sake. I moved the cursor over to Mario's ear and pulled it to elven proportion. I mean, Mario as an elf would be kind of hot. I was going to do the same to the other ear when the TV suddenly produced loud static. Mario's whole head started deforming and twisting in ways that didn't even know were possible for the model. Random sound effects from the game started playing along with the static. As all this was occurring, I could hear a faint voice whispering in Japanese. The voice was stammering and whimpering. So from that we can kind of probably see where the story goes. He will probably try to make us believe that Mario in his copy of the game was the actual real human trapped inside of the game, so when you twisted his face he felt the actual pain from getting your face twisted, like as if your grandma would be putting your cheeks, right? Like, that's probably what he's trying to tell us here, that this is a real life situation. Mario is not just in the game, he's real. I immediately shut off the game and tried again. I didn't bother with the Mario head this time, just selected a new file and started playing. When I selected the file, the game skipped the opening monologue by Peach and the courtyard outside. Mario was just placed right inside the castle. Creepier still, Bowser didn't say anything either. Why is it creepier? I think it's more creepy that Peach didn't even say anything. Like, Bowser not saying anything, okay, I can get that. But Peach not saying anything with a whole letter and stuff, that's a little bit weirder. I tried to ignore it and played anyway. However, I also noticed that there was no music, just dead silence. There weren't any toads around to talk to. The only door I could enter was the bomb battlefield. The other doors wouldn't even respond to my button commands, probably because you need a star, or at least one star to mostly open these. I mean, I guess maybe he's like, oh, it didn't even do the message that you need a star, but, the portrait to bomb on battlefield wasn't the usual picture. It was just a stark white canvas. I was still trying to convince myself that these were just minor glitches. Yeah, sure, minor glitches. This is no music. This doesn't happen. Mario screams in pain when you twist his face. That's a minor glitch, sure. And that they wouldn't affect the gameplay at all. Once I entered the portrait, the image suddenly went from a blank canvas to the lethal lava lamp painting. The slightly unsettling image of the flame with the evil smile. That's supposed to be Bowser. Yeah, that's when I started getting really sassy in my pussy. Sorry, I don't know why I said that one. The mission select menu came up, and yet another weird detail was present. Instead of big bump on the summit, the mission was called Turn Back. I have no idea what drove me to press A, but I did. The curiosity, we know what people say, the curiosity killed the cat. Cats are very curious, humans are animals, cats are animals, we are animals. So we are curious. The level seemed normal. Everything was how I remembered it. I thought I could finally enjoy my favorite childhood game. Yeah, I'm sure. After all that happened, yeah, I'm sure nothing bad will happen now. Like, no, all the glitches are suddenly gone. But then I saw him. Luigi. I was absolutely shocked. He was never in this game. His model wasn't even a Mario palette swap. He looked like a completely original model. Luigi just stood there until I tried to approach him. He started running at unexpected speeds. I followed suit and went through the level. Strange things happened as I pursued him. Each time I picked up a coin, the enemies and music would get slower. Wasn't the music gone? Like, didn't he say there was no music playing and now there's music? I guess when he entered the level there was music now. Okay. And the scenery would look darker in color and more morbid. It kept gradually getting worse until I collected a 5th coin. Then the music just stopped. The enemies lay down on the ground like they were dead. I was seriously freaked out, but I kept chasing Luigi. Luigi, my brother, why did you do this? I went up the hill, no cannonballs rolled down, trying to knock me over. I really wasn't surprised at this point. Luigi was always just out of my sight as I ran. Then, once I reached the summit, I saw yet another object out of place. A small cottage was all that was seen on the top of the hill. Luigi was nowhere to be found. The cottage was certainly odd looking for a Mario game. It was old, plain, and broken down. Regardless of my fears at that moment, I had Mario enter the cottage. Well, I would enter that too, sounds pretty comfy. I would like to live there. As soon as the door closed, a disturbing picture of a hanged Luigi immediately popped up along with a very frightening stair chord. It sounded like a violin screech accompanied by loud piano banging. Mario fell to his knees and sobbed for roughly 5 minutes. Then the screen I whistled out. The thing is, why would you even make Mario sit in front of his dead brother hanging from the ceiling for 5 minutes? Like, shouldn't you be like, hey, Mario, I don't want you to see your dead brother and I'm going to turn off the game? And why would Luigi do it? Why didn't Luigi call for help? The thing is, if we reached the cottage a little bit after Luigi, we could have saved him, right? I returned to the castle. Why would you return to the castle? Why wouldn't you turn off the game? I returned to the castle. Mario just slumped out of the painting. The image switched from the lethal lava land portrayed to the image of Luigi hanging himself. The room was different this time. It was now a small hallway. Toads with blank expressions. Now they suddenly appear. Expressions and white robes. Did they join the KKK? Lined the sides of the hallway. There was another painting at the opposite end that just completely and utterly scared me. It was a picture of my family. It wasn't even a photo from the time Super Mario 4 was released. It was a very, very recent photo. I remembered posing for it last weekend. No way. That didn't just happen. What if there's a stalker? And the guy who sold him the game stalked him, and that's why it's possible, even though obviously it's not possible, because this is not possible. This doesn't happen. I reached for the on-off switch on the... seeing a photo of himself and his family, that's going too far, but seeing a hanged Luigi, that's not where he leaves the game. Like, I would have left the game after seeing Luigi being dead. Like, I would be like, okay, I don't stand for Luigi slander and hatred. I'm gonna turn off this fucking hacked copy of the game, but no. I reached for the on-off switch on the Nintendo 64. There was no way I was going to play this anymore. However, when I flipped the switch, the game was still on. I flipped it back and forth, but to no avail. Just pull the cover. I tried unplugging the whole system, but it never left the screen. I was even still able to control Mario. That's not how technology works. I couldn't just leave it on forever, so I kept playing. I went to the photo of my family and jumped in. Only one mission was available, of course. This one was called One, Don't Walk. I selected the mission. Let's go. The level started in a flooded hallway with platforms floating on the water. Mario landed on one of these, and the camera turned to show what was behind. A silent black void was slowly approaching Mario, and if this black void sucked in Mario, you will get sucked in real life, but not the good kind of suck, right? It didn't look like anything. It didn't even look like finished graphics, just a giant, blocky, black blob. I started jumping from platform to platform. With no goal in sight, I kept running. The darkness slowly but surely gaining speed. This kept going on for what felt like hours. I was really doubting there would ever be an end. Mario was just going in circles. Finally, the black blob void thing caught up with Mario and enveloped him in darkness. He didn't scream or resist at all. It just consumed him. Mario fell out of the painting and back into the castle. I lost one of my 3 lives. You actually start Mario 64 with 4 lives. Fake story. The room was different now. Some of the toads were gone, and the painting looked different. My family and I were in the same positions, but our bodies were particularly decomposed. It looked too weird to be photoshopped. Yeah, sure. I mean, if your family is dead, then tell me that your family is dead. Tell me about your backstory of your family. Is your family still alive, or is it not alive? How can it be, It looked more like someone just took our dead bodies and posted them. So you're alive, so it is a Photoshop. Right? Nobody died, actually. Regardless, I jumped into the painting again. Mario was in a small room. There was still only one mission available. It was called I'm Right Here, spelled just like that. I selected a mission and prepared for the worst. Mario landed in a small dark room. Again, small dark room? I mean, there's no visible way out. The room was empty except for a piano in the corner. Not the Mario piano. I was stuck in here with the mad piano. The top one scariest enemy in all video games that are not supposed to be horror. Every time I see a YouTube video that has a title like that and it has the piano on the list, I immediately click the X button. That can't be a good list. People unironically make it a meme. Nobody in real life ever got scared by the piano. Maybe a jump scare once, but they don't get trauma from it. I refuse to believe that people as adults ever, even as a kid, even I as a kid was a pissy boy who pissed his pants at everything scary. I didn't piss my pants at the piano. I approached it, and it started chasing me as always. There was no way to damage it, so I had no choice but to let Mario take damage. When he lost all his health, the usual death animation didn't happen. Mario just got mauled by the piano. He fell as his blood and guts spilled on the floor, and the camera panned to a top-down view of his corpse. A distorted version of the merry-go-round music from Big Boo's horn played as the screen slowly transitioned from the in-game shot to a photorealistic sketch of Mario's dead body in the same view as the shot. It was very unsettling. I was crying softly as I gazed upon the image. I lost another life. So let's be honest here. When he saw Luigi hanging himself, he didn't cry, but he cried after he saw Mario getting mauled. What's the difference? You should have cried at Luigi's corpse too. The photo of my family was shown again. We were even more rotten than before. The view zoomed into the painting like I was warping again. I was greeted with a shot of Peach's castle from the outside. The castle was crumbling in ruin. The fields were on fire. The sky was pitch black, so it's California. Bowser's laugh played on a loop in the background as children mockingly chanted, "You couldn't save her." This went on for a long time until a close-up of Peach's face accompanied by an extremely loud screech interrupted the loop without notice. Peach's mouth was wide open, as if she was screaming, and her eyes were empty black holes. Damn. Not turning off the background noise. Suddenly, I was back in the hallway as Mario was once again ejected out of the painting. Now all of the toads were gone, and me and my family looked positively repulsive. Maggots were wiggling around in holes in our flesh, and my asshole. Guts were spitting out of our bodies. My dad's eyeball was hanging loose from its socket. It was too much to bear, but something still urged me to trudge on. Nobody says trudge. I jumped into the painting, with only one life remaining. This time, there was no name for the mission, just a blank space where the title would be. I selected the mission and Mario landed on a very small island in the middle of the ocean. There was a solitary sign, it only read, dive. I did just as it said and entered the water. The ocean was dark and empty. There were no fish. I wasn't even able to see anything in the water besides Mario. I swam downwards. I kept going for quite some time, yet Mario never went out of breath. I counted roughly 10 minutes of swimming until I decided to go back up. So you go back down 10 minutes and then you decide to go up 10 minutes again? Just as I turned Mario around, it came. A huge, and I mean huge Onagi the eel came out of nowhere and swallowed Mario whole. I was dumbfounded. That's the eel from the level where you have to get him out of the boat and then out of the hole so you can get the stuff. It went by so fast, I wasn't even sure what I saw. The game over screen didn't show up. All that happened was a fade out. The photo of my family and I was shown again. We were plain skeletons now. That's not scary. Like, I think a decomposed body is scarier than a corpse. Once again, it looked very real. I couldn't move the camera at all. It just stayed focused on the picture. I shut off the game and turned it on again. No, it turns off. Like before it didn't turn off. Now it works, right? I chose my file, but it just went to the skeleton photo of my family. I tried this about 3 more times before giving up. I desperately wanted to stop, but some force kept me from walking away. I decided to select the only other save file. The camera once again focused on the skeleton picture, but this time they were in a different position, as if they were a different family. So now it just ends, and now the question is, how does it continue? Does this bring misfortune onto your family? Like when you played and you die and go game over, one day your family will die, because that will happen anyways. We can't escape death. Death is coming for all of us. But the thing is, maybe it's coming to us towards this game in a Final Destination kind of story, right? Where you die through more brutal methods than you would normally do. Originally posted on GameFAQs in June 2010. I mixed a TTS with a voice change to make it clear demonic standing Mario voice. I said he cannot upload the audio. Wow. Every copy of old school meme, not even funny meme. This is like the every copy of Mario's personalized. I played a non-cartridge copy, cool story. Everyone is just saying this, right? Like everyone is just, haha, that was personalized. The thing is, I would say this is dark as fuck, man. I would say, you know, it's like so lame. How one time this person had copy of Mario 64 stuff, it's lame. I have to say, it's really lame. It's really lame how everyone just does stuff like that. Like, oh, you know, like this was written before the personalized stuff, like 2010. That's actually really early for Creepypasta 2. You know, this wasn't even the height of Creepypastas. And for that, I can say, you know, if this came out nowadays, you know, with this whole personalized thing, I would be like, yeah, you will explain it for the personalized copy stuff. But this was written at a time where it was still something new. So I don't want to be too harsh on it. Basically, in one way, it felt very generic through modern lenses, I think. Like, haha, your game changes. And, you know, I think the Creepypasta would have gotten better through actual pictures. Like, there's no pictures of it happening. You know, like, maybe a little bit of the pictures should have maybe helped out, you know? Like, Bent Won't, for me, was such a great Creepypasta back in the day, because it showed videos, it showed things happening, there was even more effort put into it. But obviously, for someone that only watches stories, it's really hard to being able to hack your game. And also manipulate photos and stuff like that, right? So I wouldn't take it as an actual bad thing. Because that's like so much work for someone who maybe can't do that kind of work. And if those pictures would look too stupid, it would also take you out of the story. I would say, you know, this was an okay story in a way. I think it went on a little bit too far, and it got some things wrong with like how he had 3 lives, even though you start Mario 64 with 4 lives. But you can say, haha, it was personal copy, so you only started with 3 lives. But yeah, this whole personalization stuff nowadays kind of ruins this kind of stuff. But obviously, when you notice that it was written before, it's kind of neat. I would kind of say, this last boss with skeletons, it's like, yeah, I don't know, that didn't really had to be shown. But, I think it was pretty decent. Again, with pictures, even better. But this was basically just someone writing Mario in a fucked up way, So in a way, it didn't really give me the creeps. And it wasn't really scary. And then sometimes I was like, hey, one thing I can say, at least he didn't try to give a reason why it happened. He never tried to say, I got cursed, or the game was cursed. He never gave an example, like Vanserchan turned out to be like a haunted copy and shit like that. That was stupid as fuck. At that point the story lost me. But this guy is basically just like, yeah, this copy was fucked up. There's no ghosts, there's no nothing. Obviously the thing is, when he turns off the console, that is a little bit supernatural. But he doesn't try to force it to be something that can be explained. And I do like that sometimes. Sometimes it's better to not explain why it is the way it is, than trying to explain it when you don't have a good explanation. Like if you suddenly try to make it happen with ghosts and... I don't know, like I really don't like it when people try to force it like that. Like, oh, haunted copy. But yeah, this was decent. I got a boner when he... Never mind. It was a bad joke. Cut it out, Johnny. I'm an old cutter. I don't even know why I said Johnny. It was the first thing that came to my mind. I don't even know it, Johnny. But yeah, cut it out. I'm gonna order pizza now. Good night. And maybe you got scared. Maybe you won't be able to sleep tonight now. Maybe you will think, holy shit, I can't sleep now. But yeah, good night. And hopefully you have sweet dreams. If you don't, blame me. And don't forget to buy some cute plushies. Everyone should have plushies.